A ship lost in the nebula. The Wayfarer's light drifted along the golden currents of the Alvari Nebula, its engines sputtering after a skirmish with raiders. Rian worked alone, reconnecting power modules when the proximity alarms chimed. He froze. Something or someone was out there. His scanners detected a small life pod tumbling through the nebula's haze. It was old, cracked, and leaking atmosphere. The internal life signs were faint. Very faint. "Come on," Rian muttered as he latched onto the pod with a tractor beam. "Don't die on me." He forced the pod open with a cutting torch. A metallic hiss followed, then a soft gasp. Inside lay a woman unlike anything he'd seen. Her skin was a shimmering silver blue, patterned with faint glowing lines. Her hair, long and white as frost, floated weightlessly from cryo-sleep. Her armor was torn, revealing wiry muscle and faint scars. Her eyelids fluttered open. She whispered one word in a rasping voice. "Help." Rian carried her in his arms to the medical bay. A warrior with no home. When she awoke hours later, she sat up fast, instinctively reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. "Easy," Rian said, raising his hands. "You're safe." Her eyes, luminous gold, fixed on him, scanning him for threat. Slowly, she lowered her stance. "Human," she murmured. "Unusual." "That's me," he said with a wry smile. "Rian Mercer. You're aboard my ship." She stared at him another beat. "I am Selyra of the Ihilari Vanguard." Rian knew the name. The Ihilari were an elite warrior caste. Stoic. Deadly. Extremely rare to encounter alone. "What happened to your people?" he asked gently. Her eyes dimmed. "Destroyed," she whispered. "My fleet was ambushed. I escaped in a fractured pod. I expected death." Rian's chest tightened. "Well, you got me instead." She tilted her head. "Is that better?" "Depends who you ask," he joked. A faint expression, almost a smile, but hesitant, touched her lips. As if the idea of smiling was new to her. Trust built slowly. For days, Selyra lived aboard the Wayfarer's light, learning to walk without armor, learning to speak more fluently, learning, slowly, that she didn't need to be afraid. But trust did not come easily. She watched him from doorways. She studied his movements. She examined everything he touched, as though learning the habits of a strange creature. Rian never pressured her, never asked for more. He simply offered her safety. One evening, she sat across from him in the mess hall, observing how he ate ration noodles with chopsticks. "You place such importance on flavor," she said. "Kind of a human thing. Food for a Hilari is for survival only." He took a bite. "Well, you get to enjoy it now, too. You're not in a war zone anymore." She looked down at her bowl, steam curling against her glowing skin. Perhaps. But she didn't believe it yet, not fully. Immediately the closet of human clothes. A week later, with Selyra gaining strength, Rian rummaged through his cargo bay for spare clothing. Her armor was nearly destroyed, and she'd been wearing only the base layer undersuit, a material meant to be worn under combat plating, not alone. He returned with a stack of human clothes, soft shirts, simple pants, boots, even a jacket. Selyra examined the garments with confused curiosity. "These are soft," she said, running her fingers through the fabric. "Humans wear this for protection?" "Protection? No," Rian laughed. "Comfort, style, identity." "Identity," she repeated quietly. "My people never disguise themselves with cloth." "Not a disguise," he corrected gently. "An expression." Her eyes lingered on him, thoughtful. "May I try them?" she asked. "Of course." She lifted the garments carefully. "Alone." Rian smiled. "Of course." She disappeared into the washroom. Minutes passed. Then 10. Then 20. Rian frowned, wondering if she needed help. But before he could knock, the door slid open, and Selyra stepped out. The first transformation. The human clothes fit imperfectly but beautifully. She wore a soft black shirt tucked into cargo pants, a belt cinched around her slim waist, and the jacket loose around her shoulders. Her white hair cascaded down her back, contrasting sharply against the dark fabric. But it wasn't how she looked that stunned Rian. It was how she felt. Different. Gentler. Truly herself. Not a weapon. Not a soldier. For the first time, she looked vulnerable. Selyra's golden eyes searched his face anxiously. "Rian," she whispered, fingers twisting the edge of the jacket. "Do I look acceptable?" "Acceptable," he repeated, stunned. "Selyra, you look—" He almost said beautiful, but he hesitated, afraid of meaning the wrong thing. Her breath caught at the silence. Then she stepped closer, raising a trembling hand to his chest. "Human women wear these garments to attract mates," she said, voice unsteady. "I have studied your archives. I have seen how they are perceived, how humans respond." Rian's heartbeat quickened. "Selyra." Her eyes shone with fear and hope. "Rian, do you find me beautiful?" The question that changed everything. He froze. Not because he didn't know the answer, but because she asked it with such innocence, such raw, trembling vulnerability, that he realized no one in her life had ever told her she was beautiful. She had been raised for war, praised for strength, respected for discipline, feared for skill, but never cherished, never seen. "Selyra," he said softly. She held her breath. "You are the most extraordinary being I have ever met." Her lips parted in surprise. "Your strength, your courage, your heart, those are beautiful. And yes." He stepped closer, gently lifting her chin. "You look beautiful to me. More than you know." She inhaled sharply, her eyes bright. I did not understand beauty. It is not taught to us. Not meant for warriors." "Selyra," he murmured, "beauty isn't weakness." She blinked. "Then what is it?" "It's truth," he whispered. "The truth of who you are." Her cheeks warmed, a faint, glowing blush, like silver embers under her skin. "I do not know what to do with this feeling," she confessed. "You don't have to know," Rian said gently. "You just have to feel." Selyra's fingers brushed his cheek. "I have never felt seen," she whispered. "Until now." The raid. The moment fractured when the alarms blared. "Unidentified ship approaching," the computer announced. Rian and Selyra snapped into action. The raiders from before had tracked them through the nebula. Selyra grabbed the nearest weapon, an electromagnetic spear Rian had salvaged. "You should hide," Rian insisted. She shot him a fierce glare. "I am a Hilari." "I know, but you're not fully recovered. I will stand with you." Together, they blocked the entrance to the bridge as raiders tore through the airlocks. Selyra moved like lightning. Precise. Deadly. Silent. Rian fired his rifle beside her, covering angles she couldn't see. One raider hurled a plasma charge toward Rian, but Selyra dove in front of him, deflecting the blast with the spear's energy field. "Selyra," he shouted. She turned, chest rising fast. "I will not let you fall." "Neither will I let you." Rian shot back. Together, they pushed forward, side by side, until the last raider fell. When silence returned, Selyra staggered, dropping the spear. Rian caught her instantly. "You're hurt." "Only lightly," she whispered. "But you—" She touched his cheek, smudged with soot, scraped by debris. "You protected me." "Of course," Rian breathed. "I protect the people I care about." She stared at him, stunned by the word care, as if it was something she had never believed she deserved. Ending a confession in the aftermath. Rian helped her sit on the edge of his bunk. Her energy field flickered faintly, but she was stable. Her fingers played with the hem of the shirt he'd given her. "You ask me," she whispered, "if beauty is weakness. I said it wasn't. And today you have shown me why." He sat beside her. "How so?" "In battle, I was afraid for you." Rian laughed softly. "Yeah, that's called being human." She frowned. "It is unpleasant. Sometimes," he admitted. "But feeling something for someone else, that's one of the strongest things we can do." Selyra looked down at their hands, his rough, calloused human palm resting beside her luminous, scar-patterned fingers. "Rian," she said softly, "when I asked if I was beautiful, I feared your answer." "Why?" "Because if you said no, I would still wear these clothes. I would still want to be seen. By you." Rian's chest tightened. "Selyra, but you said yes," she whispered, "and now my heart feels too large for my body." He chuckled. "That's normal. For humans, anyway." She leaned her head gently against his shoulder. "Then perhaps," she murmured, "I am becoming something new." Rian rested his hand on hers. "Warm. Comforting. Real." "You don't have to be more a Hilari or more human," he said. "Just be Selyra." Her breath trembled. I want that." "Good," he whispered, "because so do I." She looked up at him, eyes glowing softly. "Rian." "Yes." She smiled, not the cold discipline of a warrior, but the warm, trembling smile of someone exploring her own heart for the first time. "Will you teach me more of your world? Of your people? Of beauty?" Rian brushed a strand of her white hair behind her ear. "Anything you want," he promised. She exhaled, content. Then, with courage greater than any battle she'd fought, Selyra whispered, "Then begin with this." She closed her eyes and leaned closer. And under the soft glow of the nebula drifting past the ship's window, Rian kissed her, gently, carefully, reverently. A first kiss. A new beginning. A warrior finding herself through someone who finally saw her. And as her glowing markings pulsed with shy warmth against his skin, Rian knew he hadn't just saved her. He'd given her something she'd never had. A sense of her own beauty. And a place to belong. To be continued.